In this K2 quick brief, I'll give you a quick overview of business apps for banking. If you're not familiar with K2, we're a business applications platform that revolves around four pillars: forms, workflow, data, and reports. And we give organizations the power to create powerful and efficient applications without the use for custom code. So in this case study, what I'll show you today is a loan origination application. So we all know that mortgages are very complex. If you've gone through the process, you've got any number of documents that need to be passed on to the loan originator. There's all types of paperwork and information. There's back and forth via email. There's phone calls that go on. It can be very challenged to have a consistent process. And typically, it's done via paper. And paper processes are quite painful, quite inefficient, and a lot of these organizations are wasting a lot of money and a lot of time in getting the loan from point A to point B. So at Island Savings, one of our customers, they actually went from 3 days without K2 to originate a mortgage down to 45 minutes. And all that is based on our application that was built with no code that really accelerated that process. And those four pillars, forms, which bring back data from different data sources, reports, and workflow, really gave them an efficient process and gave them insight into um, the loan origination process, as well as custom reports where management could make tweaks to the system, see where their loans were being originated, and different bits and pieces like that. So now that I've given you a quick overview, let's go ahead and take a peek at what the application looks like. So in this particular example, if we take a peek, this loan management application is running within the context of SharePoint. And if you look at this SharePoint page, this is actually a K2 smart form, or information is being fed from K2 with reports on loan summaries, loan requests by state, so management can look at different data coming back and make informed decisions. They've also got a listing of all the applications that are currently in motion. And at any point in time, they can double click on one of these and get some insight into the process. So in this particular example, this loan for Jim Glenn has actually started, gone through the initial request, and now it's at the loan manager review point in the process. And you can see K2 gives you a nice visual representation of the business process, the steps that have been completed. And if you click into one of these steps, you can actually get even more data. So K2 maintains all the different information about the process step, who the participants are. So we can see that this particular review is sitting in James's digital inbox. You can look at activity data, as well as the different events for each of these steps within the workflow. So let's go ahead and kick off a new application, and we'll look at some details here. Now, right now, one of the benefits of K2 is our patented data layer called Smart Objects. And what Smart Objects let you do is integrate with complex backend business systems. In this case, we're pulling some loan applicant information from Microsoft CRM. We're bringing back some loan details from another line of business system. In this particular demo, we actually bring back business rule information from one of our partners through a web service, and they're called InRule. So let's go ahead and start the process. You can see here within this smart form, I can go ahead and pick an applicant. When I do that, I'm going to auto-populate some fields, bring back some information, and then using the SSN, I'm going to click on Find Loan Products. And this particular smart form is going to bring back the credit score as well as some data about this particular individual, and then show the available products as well as the interest rates and the criteria of the loan that can be specified for this person. So let's say that Jim wants to do a 30-year fixed. I can click on Get Stipulations. And through that, it's going to bring back all the different documents that are required for that particular loan and put those, attach those to the business process so that as I go through, I can examine and see if those are complete, and I have a status on the loan in the different step where it sits. So let's go ahead and submit the application. Once I do that, it's going to let me know that the process has been started, and it's going to kick off the workflow. So in this example, it's going to zip me back to a landing page where I can actually see the different status, and you can see that that loan for Jim 40111 is now pending review. So let's go ahead and do this, and the last step that I'll show you is one of the next workflow steps. So if I come in here, I know that Bob is the loan reviewer. And if we go into Bob's portal, you can see that it looks pretty much the same, and you can see that now I have this new loan that is waiting for initial loan officer review. And down below, so I've got loan applications that are currently in the works, and down below I've got my task list or K2 work list. So from here, I can see that I need to provide approval. I can open the form. I can view the workflow. I can actually put the process to sleep. I can redirect it to someone if I want someone else to handle it, or I can share it. In this example, I'm going to open this form. And you can see this smart form actually looks very familiar. It's just reused parts from the initial form that I showed you. So one of the core tenets of K2 is reusability and the ability to reuse different views within a form quickly and easily. So if you can see, I've passed on some information. I've actually changed the form a little bit. I can see my 30-year fixed. I can see the documents that are required. And if I wanted to come in here, I could approve the loan, I could put in some notes. And I can action the task, and it moves on in the in this particular workflow. Okay. So once I've done all that, I can close out Bob's view, and I can come back to my original view here in the loan app management interface. And if I double click on Jim's flow, I'm actually going to get a new view flow update where I can see that the initial loan officers approved it. So as we logged in as Bob and approved it, it moved on in the process. Now we can get very complex from a rules perspective. We can put different workflow steps and different routes and outcomes based on the size of the loan, the interest rate of the loan, maybe the credit score. So there's lots of different options here. So this was a quick overview of the type of solutions that we can provide to the financial services and banking industry. If you have any questions, give us a shout. You can go to k2.com and contact us, and we can give you a more in-depth demo. Have a great day.